Fundamentals of Bhagavad-gita. We are looking at an overview of chapter 2 of Bhagavad-gita, contents of the Gita summarized. This is the summary of the entire chapter in a few words. Arjuna submits to Lord Krishna as his disciple, and Krishna begins his teachings to Arjuna by explaining the fundamental distinction between the temporary material body and the eternal spiritual soul. The Lord explains the process of transmigration, the nature of selfless service to the Supreme, and the characteristics of a self-realized person. This chapter contains 72 verses, so I have broken it up into two parts. Right now we'll deal with part A, which is up to text 38. Okay, first of all, texts 1 to 3 constitute a section. Lord Krishna regards Arjuna's lamentation as weakness. Okay, here we are. So Sanjay, he explained that Arjuna was quite depressed due to the reasons that he had specified in the previous chapter, and Krishna then spoke to him the following words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this is how in Bhagavad-gita the Supreme Lord is described. Krishna is described as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's only one Supreme Personality of Godhead according to Bhagavad-gita. There's only one Supreme God. There are many subordinate gods, but there is only one Supreme God in the Bhagavad-gita. That's Krishna. So the Supreme Lord said, Arjuna, what is this? How can you, such an exalted warrior and such a dharmic religious person, how could you, who know the value of life, who know about liberation, who knows that if you engage in dharma you can go to higher planets, and if you give up dharma you attain infamy, you attain sinful reactions, how is it possible that a person like you doesn't want to execute his prescribed duties? So then he chastised him. He said, no, it doesn't become you. This is simply a weakness of heart. You're just weak in your determination. Arise and fight. Krishna does not accept Arjuna's arguments as being worthy enough for consideration. He simply considers that to be weakness. Then from 4 to 6, Arjuna begins to present counter arguments. Arjuna sees nothing but trouble in the fight. Arjuna says, Krishna, you're a killer of enemies. You're a killer of Madhu. But look at my situation. I am put in a position where I have to kill my teacher. I have to kill my grandfather. I have to kill Bhishma and Drona. They're worthy of my worship. You never had to fight with your teacher. You never had to fight with your guru. But I have to do this. How can I do this? It would be better if I could just beg. I could be like a sannyasi and just go and beg and live in voluntary poverty than to kill these great souls. Okay, they may be having some material desires, but still they are superiors. And if they are killed, then we will always have to be enjoying this material opulence with the feeling of guilt and by experiencing the sinful reactions for having killed them. And then he says, factually, I have no idea whether to kill them or to be killed by them. Which of the two is better? If we kill them, what is the use of our lives? They are kinsmen, they are dead, so it's better that we also die. For some reason this battle has happened like this. I see nothing but problems. And then from text 7 to 9, Arjuna, he asks Krishna to instruct him. He stops arguing. I'm very confused. What exactly is my duty now? I'm very confused because I'm having this weakness of determination. I don't know what is best for me. What is factually good for me? I become your disciple. I surrender unto you. Please instruct me. These are prerequisites for taking spiritual guidance? First of all, one has to find out a trustworthy, competent spiritual master, and then one has to surrender unto him, and then that spiritual teacher will begin to speak. He will not speak if the potential disciple is not surrendered unto him. That is a system. So Arjuna is surrendering unto Krishna, and he is saying that I find no means to drive away this grief. Even if I become the overlord of the heavens, even if I get the entire kingdom, still I won't be satisfied. Actually, I want to know what is the solution to all of these problems. That was what was in Arjuna's mind. In other words, Arjuna was representing those human beings who are questioning why they are suffering. He wasn't just thinking about how to solve this particular problem. And then he told Krishna, I won't fight anymore. Then from text 10 to text 30, Krishna, he begins his instructions to Arjuna. He first of all describes the soul, and he talks about detachment from the senses too. Okay, let's look at this. Krishna, he was smiling. He was smiling because an intimate friend had become a disciple. This is a matter of embarrassment. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the first thing he said was, he chastised Arjuna, that you don't know what you're talking about. You're simply arguing with me. You actually don't know that those who are wise, they don't lament for people who are living, they don't lament for people who are dead, because there was no time when I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, did not exist, nor you, a living entity, my eternal servant, nor all these kings who are also living entities, my eternal servants. There's no time when they did not exist. There's no time when you did not exist. There's no time when I did not exist as the Lord of all. And in the future also, I will always exist as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You will always exist as a living entity, my eternal servant. And all these kings, they will also exist as living entities. Their bodies may change, your body may change, but all of you will remain. The point is, when the physical body grows from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul in it does not change. And when the physical body dies, the soul passes into another body at death. According to the law of karma, the soul transmigrates from one body to another. So while all this is going on, we may experience happiness and unhappiness, but we should learn to tolerate them. We should aim at spiritual happiness, at liberation. And while we are trying to pursue spiritual liberation, we should simply tolerate the happiness and unhappiness that our bodies go through. Such a person is certainly eligible for liberation. All classes of Vedic philosophers have concluded that the material body is said to be non-existent because it is not permanently existent, and the spirit soul is said to be eternal because it is permanently existing. They have studied the nature of both and they have come to this conclusion. The spirit soul pervades through the entire body. You cannot kill it, whereas the body is definitely going to be killed. Somebody will kill it or it will have to die. The soul can never die, and the body has to do nothing but, it has to undergo nothing but death. The soul is indestructible, immeasurable, because it is so small and it is eternal. So one who thinks that the living entity can be killed is simply foolish. The soul is not born, it does not die. It has, strictly speaking, never come into being because it always exists. It does not come into being, and in the future also new souls will never come into being. The spirit soul is unborn, ever existing, primeval. When the body is killed, the soul is not killed. So for a person who has this spiritual realization, there is no question of him incurring sinful reactions for having killed someone's body. Factually speaking, this body is just like a garment. You give up old garments in order to happily accept new garments. Similarly, here in front of you are Bhishma, Drona, persons whom you value. They follow religious principles, and this war is being fought based on Vedic religious principles. So if you kill them, they are going to give up these old garments in the form of their old bodies, and they're going to get new garments in the form of celestial heavenly bodies. They will go to the heavenly planets. So you should not lament simply because of this change of physical body. The soul is categorically different from the physical body. The soul cannot be cut in any manner. It cannot be affected in any manner. It cannot be burned. It cannot be dried. Its nature as being the subordinate part and parcel of God cannot be changed. The soul is invisible. He is inconceivable. If you don't accept Vedic authority, you cannot understand him. So don't cry for the body. Even if you think that the soul will always be born and it will always die, just hypothetically, even then you should remember that one who has taken his birth is sure to die, and one who is taken death is sure to take birth again, because his karmic reactions are going to continue again and again and again and again and again. So therefore you should not lament. You should keep in mind that just as whatever we see here were unmanifest before and will become unmanifest when they are annihilated. Take for instance a building. A building was not in the shape of a building before the building was constructed, but right now it exists as a building. When it is broken, again it will go back to dust. So similarly, this physical body is also like that. So why do you need to lament? There's no need to lament. So the soul is actually a very, very amazing and interesting subject, but most people do not understand his nature. The summary is that the one who is inside the physical body, the soul, he can never ever be slain. Therefore, you should not have to lament when the body of a living being is being destroyed. And then from text 31 to 38, Krishna makes another very important point. He starts by insisting that as a Kshatriya, Arjuna should fight for the right cause. You should understand that you belong to the Varnashrama system. In Vedic culture, humankind have been categorized by 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. You belong to the Kshatriya Varna. So you should know that your Swadharma, your specific duty, is to fight on religious principles when required for public good. So you should not hesitate when you have been given this opportunity. Kshatriyas are actually happy when they receive facilities in order to attain the heavenly planets so easily, even without performing specific fire sacrifices and austerities to attain the heavenly planets. In fact, if you don't perform this duty of fighting, then you will receive sinful reactions and you will have to go to hell. People will, on top of it, people will criticize you in this very lifetime, and for a very respected person like you, it's better to die. Your enemies will criticize you. They will scorn your ability. They will say Arjuna's glory lies only outside of a battlefield. If you fight in this war and you are destroyed, then you will attain the heavenly planets because you have participated in a religious war. Or if you win, then you gain this kingdom. In either case, you can be happy. Then in text 38, Krishna says that actually you should fight for a higher cause. You should fight because I have given this principle of fighting in the Vedic scriptures, and you should simply fight because I want you to fight. You should not even consider whether you're happy or unhappy. This is a higher principle. This is a spiritual principle which Krishna will detail a little further.